This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Your father may have his own ideas, Yunxiao said. But the more he does, the more the people of the other chambers of commerce will not be able to figure out your background. This is not necessarily a bad thing. Right now, the entire Songhua city was in a mess. How many people could tell the truth from the false? As long as we can drag this out until the start of the 2 meetings, I'll directly defeat those minions, and everything else will be easy. I'm just afraid that others will find out about your real situation and make a move before the 2 meetings. That would be troublesome. Ding Ling had no idea what to do. She said, "What should we do now?" Originally, she was the one who made the decision, but now that Yun Xiao was here, she had become so dependent that she did not even want to use her brain. All women would become idiots in front of the man they liked. Even someone as strong as Ding Ling was no exception. This kind of dependence was also a kind of happiness. "Let's do it as usual," Yun Xiao said. "We'll deal with them as they come." But his gaze fell on the 3 piles of rotten meat on the ground and he recited, "But these 3 idiots seem to be the first to try. Whether or not they succeed, I'm afraid that people will come to provoke me one after another. We can first gather all the major chambers of commerce that are affiliated with Tianyuan Trading Company and invite them to join us in this forbidden area. This will strengthen our strength." There were 79 chambers of commerce that relied on Tianyuan Trading Company when we were at our strongest, Ding Ling said with a wry smile. "There are 27 of them who still pledge their allegiance to us now. Even among these 27, I can only trust 5 or 6 of them. Moreover, their strength is limited. In this big game, I'm afraid it'll be very difficult for them to help." Mo Xiaochuan could not help but ask, "That tragic?" Tianyuan Trading Company was one of the 8 giants in the Merchant Union, but it had declined to such a state? How have you been doing all these years? Why don't you run? He turned to Yun Xiao and said, "Young Master Yun, why don't I contact my other senior and junior brothers now, then Black Iron City, and you contact some old friends from the past. We'll rush to Songhua City together. They're definitely a powerful force that can't be ignored. It's not an exaggeration to say that they'll deter the other 7 chambers of commerce." Ding Ling was shocked when she heard that. "You are?" Mo Xiaochuan introduced himself and said, "I've already heard young Master Yun talk about you. Don't worry, with young Master Yun here, even the entire Merchant Union can be overturned." Ding Ling was horrified. She had heard of this man before her, who was also an arrogant and unruly person, but she didn't expect to see his true face. And there was a sweet feeling in her heart for no reason. Obviously, Yun Xiao had regarded her as the closest person to him. "Do you think it's still more than a decade ago?" Yun Xiao smiled wryly. "I'm just a slightly stronger martial emperor now. Your stupid idea is not feasible at all. Don't attract a large number of enemies before reinforcements arrive. In the situation where there are no external forces in the entire Songhua city, we can only borrow strength to fight strength, temporarily surviving in the crack. And what I'm most worried about now is that with the current strength of Tianyuan Trading Company, even if the 2 associations can make it to the top, I'm afraid that it will attract the dissatisfaction of the other merchants and put them in a precarious situation. Let me send a message to my father," Ding Ling said worriedly. "Ask him to send at least one of the golden blades and silver rays to help me." "Yes," Yun Xiao nodded and said, "We have to do that. The first is to increase our current strength, and the second is to probe your father's thoughts. Apart from that, the gathering of the subsidiary chambers of commerce that I mentioned earlier is also imperative. At this critical moment, everyone must make their stand clear. We must do our best to win support. For example, I think this Luochu Chamber of Commerce would be a very good help." His gaze fell on the 3 pieces of rotten flesh on the ground, and he revealed a knowing smile. Luochu Chamber of Commerce? Although Luochu Chamber of Commerce is limited in strength, it's still a well-known existence. However, why would they help us? Could it be that young Master Yun was planning to use Wu Yu to threaten them? It's useless. Not every chamber of commerce is united. Many people wish for Wu Yu's death. They won't be controlled by us because of this. Yunxiao's eyes turned cold as he said, restrained? Were they even worthy? What I mean is to use the Luochu Chamber of Commerce as an example and directly incorporate them into our organization. Ding Ling was shocked and said, let's not talk about the fact that we can't deal with Luochu Chamber of Commerce at the moment. Even if we can, Tianyi Chamber of Commerce will never agree. They are one of the major vassals of the Tianyi Chamber of Commerce. It's enough, Yunxiao said indifferently. As long as you are fast and ruthless enough. We'll bet that the Tianyi Chamber of Commerce won't make a move at this time. If we don't take the initiative to attack, the situation will become more and more unfavorable for us. Ding Ling's heart was beating wildly. The bet was too big. If she failed, she would be removed from the competition before the 2 meetings even started. She swallowed and said with difficulty, can you wait for me to send a message to my father first? Let's see how he replies. If he can send the golden edge and silver light over, then we'll have a greater chance. Yunxiao shook his head. I can't wait any longer. Besides, I don't think your father will send someone here. Let me and Xiaochuan handle the matter of the Luochu Chamber of Commerce. We'll leave the young emperor's side in the dark in case something unexpected happens. Mo Xiaochuan chuckled. Miss Ding, don't you think it's a miracle that you've managed to hold on until now? I think it's because of the power in your father's hands. I'm just afraid that your father actually doesn't have any more power left, so I'm doing this on purpose, using the empty city as a strategy. Ding Ling was even more shocked. If that was the case, wouldn't Tianyuan Trading Company have been empty for a long time? Then why didn't her father tell her? Yunxiao saw through her thoughts and said with a smile, everything is just a guess. Send a message to your father and all the chambers of commerce that used to be affiliated with Tianyuan Trading Company. Xiaochuan and I will go to the Luochu Trading Company's house for a cup of tea. Let's first throw a stone into this chaotic city. I also want to see what kind of waves it can stir up. Ding Ling's lips were a little dry. As a girl, she had always been cautious and meticulous in her actions, while Yunxiao was bold and unconstrained, decisive and unpredictable, turning the whole situation around with him as the center and finally killing them one by one. From the incident at Mount Meru to the Chinga forest, it was the same. Now, with his arrival, a storm would probably start in the city. When Ding Ling thought of this, she was full of expectation. She nodded heavily and said, we'll listen to young Master Yun's instructions. Yunxiao glanced at the 3 piles of mud on the ground and said coldly, I thought it would be useful to keep them, but it seems like it's a waste. Send them home. Mo Xiaochuan smacked them with his palm, and the 3 of them were instantly killed. He then kept them into his storage ring. Other than saint artifacts, which could open up independent spaces, all storage spaces could not hold living beings, but corpses could. After Yunxiao and Mo Xiaochuan asked about the location of the Luochu Chamber of Commerce, they immediately disappeared from the hall. Only Ding Ling was left sitting in the empty hall in a daze. Everything that had happened just now seemed a little unreal, like a dream. Her brother's betrayal, old Yu's death, and young Master Yun's arrival had all caused a huge emotional fluctuation. If Ding Peng hadn't been lying on the ground with his head swollen like a winter melon, she would have thought it was a dream. With a deep sigh, Ding Ling gathered her exhausted spirit and restored her appearance as the head of the Chamber of Commerce and a strong woman of her generation. She sent a voice transmission, someone, pass down my order. Send 27 invitation letters to each subsidiary Chamber of Commerce and call them to come here for an important matter. After the order was passed down, she took out a delicate voice transmission tool from her ring. Her hand seemed to be trembling slightly as she held it. Her face gradually lost its color as she muttered to herself, Father, I hope you won't disappoint me. Luochu Chamber of Commerce's base also had its own forbidden area to prevent outsiders from entering. Those who were able to draw their own sphere of influence in Songwuyang City were all people of status. At the very least, they had martial emperor powerhouses in their ranks. Except for the members of the Council of the 8 Business Alliances, there were no more than 10 chambers of commerce that dared to do so. Father, I heard that Big Brother took Dingpeng of Tianyuan Trading Company to abduct Dingling? In a rather distant place, a silver-robed youth with an ashen face was facing a man who was resting on a rocking chair with his eyes half closed. He gritted his teeth and said, "Didn't father say that my talent is far superior to Big Brother's and that I would inherit Luochu Chamber of Commerce in the future? Why is Big Brother the one who married Ding Ling, and not me?" "Oh. You're angry." The man was the president of the Luochu Chamber of Commerce, Wu Jinzuan. He opened his half-closed eyes and a smile appeared on his face. "Are you drooling over your Big Brother's capital or your Big Brother's beauty?" The young man was stunned and snorted angrily, "Both." As one of the two beauties in the Merchant Union, who wouldn't like Ding Ling? All the young and handsome men in the Merchant Union have fantasized about her and Shui Luoyan. I'm also a normal man. Secondly, although Tianyuan Trading Company is like a thin camel, it's still bigger than a horse. If Big Brother gets his hands on it, how can I compete with him in the future? Wu Jinzuan laughed at the sky, looking very happy, and said, "Not bad, not bad. You know how to think about problems." The young man said angrily, "Humph. What's the use of thinking? Has father already decided to pass the Chamber of Commerce to Big Brother? Then I'll give up on this idea now and never mention it again." "You're still too young," Wu Jinzuan said lightly. "Do you think that your Big Brother can control Ding Peng and go to Tianyuan Trading Company to deal with Ding Ling without any trouble? I've heard that there's not a single martial honor in Tianyuan Trading Company's encampment," the young man said with a frown. "Big Brother has brought 2 martial honors and guardians with him, wouldn't it be easy to capture him?" Wu Jinzuan sneered, "If it's so easy to capture, then Tianyuan Trading Company will be too easy to deal with. The 4 Extreme sect wouldn't have arranged for us to investigate the situation." "What?" The young man's body trembled and he said in shock, "Is it the 4 Extreme sect's idea for Big Brother to go to Tianyuan Trading Company?" "What else?" Wu Jinzuan snorted. "Do you think I want to be the first one to go? If it's a crab, it's fine. Even if we can't keep it, we can at least try it. But if it's a spider, it's not that fun." The youth was very puzzled and said, "But isn't our Luochu Chamber of Commerce attached to the Empyrean One Pavilion? Why do we have to listen to the orders of the 4 Extreme sect?" Wu Jinzuan's pupils contracted as he stared at the young man and said earnestly, "The relationships within the Merchant Union are the most complicated in the world. There were no eternal friends, nor were there eternal enemies. There were only benefits. We'll follow whoever has a better future. Young Master Tang Xian of the 4 Extreme sect is definitely the scariest person among the younger generation in the Merchant Union. Father's bet is on him." "Father, I can understand what you just said, but isn't Li Feiyu of the Myriad Treasures Store the most powerful person in the younger generation?" the young man asked in astonishment. "It's said that his strength is unpredictable." "Humph. No matter how strong Li Feiyu is, he's just an ordinary man. Unless he could become a martial sovereign of the 9th heaven, which would make people a little afraid, he would only be mediocre. As for Tang Xian, according to my secret information, it's very likely that he has already obtained the Arraydao inheritance of the martial sovereign, Tung Guang." The young man was shocked. The Arraydao inheritance of a martial sovereign king? Could he have solved the heaven and earth chessboard? "I don't quite understand the process," Wu Jinzuan shook his head. "But if the rumors are true, Tang Xian will be invincible among the younger generation, not even Li Feiyu. But fortunately, the 4 Extreme sect is not an iron bucket, and that Tang Jia is not easy to deal with." He greatly restrained Tang Xian, "Otherwise I'm really afraid that Luochu Chamber of Commerce would be swallowed up by Tang Xian." The young man was drenched in cold sweat. He did not expect the situation to be so complicated. He said awkwardly, So you're going to Tianyuan Trading Company without any results?" Wu Jinzuan shook his head. "I don't know either. That's why I'm waiting for the result, just like you. It'd be best if we can succeed, but it doesn't matter if we can't. Our purpose is just to test the real situation of Tianyuan Trading Company and then give feedback to Tang Xian, and then wait for his further instructions." "But father, wouldn't this be too passive? Wouldn't you be listening to everyone's orders?" The young man felt that it was very inappropriate and was dissatisfied. Of course not, Wu Jinzuan laughed. However, in the current chess game, we can only wait for an opportunity to act. We must not act rashly. This is because we are only playing the role of chess pieces at the moment. Unless we have enough strength, we cannot be promoted to chess players. And Tang Xian is an outstanding player in this big game. The young man was shocked. What his father said seemed to have opened another door to the peak of the world for him, allowing him to peak at a higher level. Well said. Since you have the knowledge of being a chess piece, you should also be prepared to be crushed at any time. A cold voice came from the distance, like the falling of frost. The entire courtyard became solemn and bleak, and the cold air was pressing. Who's there? Wu Jinzuan's expression changed drastically. The conversation just now had been heard by someone without a sound. He secretly blamed himself for being too careless. In shock, he suddenly spread out his divine sense and immediately locked onto the two figures in the void. Only then did he feel slightly relieved and said coldly, "Since the two of you dared to come, why don't you dare to show yourself?" A long laugh came from the sky. The ups and downs of the world fight for fame and fortune, and the sparks of fire will fly in this life. The secular world's turmoil can't be waved away. Watching chess without smiling is an idiot. The void trembled, and Yunxiao and Mo Xiaochuan's figures emerged, walking down from the sky. Wu Jinzuan's gaze immediately fell on Mo Xiaochuan, and his pupils contracted. Mo Xiaochuan's aura made him feel a little uneasy, but when he remembered that this was the Luochu Chamber of Commerce's encampment and that there were many experts around, he relaxed and said in a deep voice, "Who are you?" "A chess player," Yunxiao said with a smile. "He's here to play chess." "Oh, with just the two of you, you want to disrupt Song Yuyang City's chess game?" Wu Jinzuan's eyes gradually widened as he stared at the two coldly. "I don't have enough strength," Yunxiao said. "So, I came to you for help, didn't I?" "Help?" Wu Jinzhou laughed. "Who the hell are you? How are you going to help?" Yunxiao smiled as well. "It doesn't matter who we are. It's easy to help. I just need to borrow your head." "Impudent." Wu Jinzuan's eyes were filled with killing intent as he said angrily, "Where did this ignorant brat come from, daring to act so atrociously in my Luochu Chamber of Commerce?" Although Wu Jinzuan looked furious on the surface, he was as calm as a virgin on the inside. He deliberately shouted this sentence out loud in order to alarm the masters of Luochu Chamber of Commerce. Since the other party dared to come, they must have come prepared. Young Master Yun is right. As a chess piece, we should be prepared to be crushed at any time. A light flashed in Mo Xiaochuan's hand, and 3 corpses immediately flew across the air toward Wu Jinzuan. Wu Jinzuan's heart trembled. He raised his hand and was about to smash the 3 bodies into pieces when his pupils suddenly shrank and he cried out in horror, "You!" Among the 3 corpses, there was actually his beloved son. He was shocked and stunned. "Big brother." The teenager beside him was also shocked. He had been extremely envious just a moment ago, but when he saw Wu Yu's corpse, he was dumbfounded. Grief and indignation gradually rose in his heart. "I've been careless. When you're facing a martial emperor, how many lives do you have that can distract you?" Mo Xiaochuan's voice seemed to come from the netherworld as it rang in Wu Jinzuan's ears. Wu Jinzuan's body trembled. He looked up, but what he saw was not Mo Xiaochuan, but a blood-red pupil that opened between Yunxia's eyebrows, which turned into a demonic full moon and attacked his spiritual altar. Spiritual attack. He only felt his mind go blank. Soon after, an ice-cold voice rang out, "Red dust gazes at Ing Haoyue." A domineering sword chi rose up, and the entire courtyard turned into a sea of swords. The scene of the yin and yang fish devouring each other appeared in the sky, and they fell quickly. This strike contained all of Mo Xiaochuan's power. He had to hit the target in one shot, or else he would have wasted his time. Naturally, Wu Jinzuan was not ordinary either. After a brief daze, the fear from the depths of his soul immediately woke him up. His martial artist's instinctive power was awakened at this moment. Without any thoughts, he subconsciously attacked. Point out 10 directions, flying waterfall meteorites. 10 rays of cold light shot out from Wu Jinzuan's fingertips. After a few rays of light, they actually sketched out a beautiful scene of a waterfall. A beautiful wheel rose in the courtyard, matching the 1,000 feet Haoran technique. The two spiritual pressures collided in the air, shooting out tens of thousands of rays of light. Darkness appeared all around the courtyard, and the space was broken one by one, spreading into the distance. It's too late. If you only have one life, you can be on your way today. Mo Xiaochuan raised his right hand and slashed down like a sword. His right hand faintly flickered with supreme sword light, emitting a terrifying sword qi. It was no longer possible to tell if it was an arm or a sword light. The third move, Red Furnace, illuminates the mountains and rivers. The sword qi was like the sun and the moon, like the stars that split the earth. A ray of light rose from the small courtyard and shot straight into the 9 heavens. Boom. One of Wu Jinzuan's unique skills was broken easily. A flash of armor appeared on his body and then solidified, protecting him like an iron bucket. It was useless. Under the sword qi, it was indestructible. The armor was destroyed and the sword ray shot into Wu Jinzuan's body. He spat out a mouthful of blood from his throat and retreated continuously. He tried to disperse the sword qi, but it was in vain. Finally, all the meridians in his body were destroyed, and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. Wu Jinzuan's face was pale, but he stood still, but he was about to fall. His eyes, which had been sparkling with brilliance earlier, instantly dimmed. The hero of a generation, the master of Luochu Chamber of Commerce, had been inexplicably injured by 2 people who had barged in so casually that he could no longer summon any battle strength. He had already been eliminated from the chess game before it even started. Mo Xiaochuan frowned and said, "He's not dead yet? These merchant alliances are indeed quite powerful." After the attack, he put down his right hand, restrained all his aura, and stood quietly behind Yunxiao. Yunxiao's eyes were as calm as an ancient well, as if he had already seen this result. "I'll use your son's corpse to disturb your mind first, then I'll use a spiritual attack to shake your sea of consciousness." The 3 moves were linked together, but he was still able to keep his life. As expected of the master of Luochu Chamber of Commerce, he was worthy of praise. But his voice turned cold and turned into a sneer. He said softly, "But you're still a chess piece, and a chess piece should have its destiny." Wu Jinzuan spat out another mouthful of blood. He could no longer stand and knelt down, looking extremely dispirited. "Who dares to come to my Luochu Chamber of Commerce and act so atrociously? Do you want to die?" When Mo Xiaochuan's sword light shot up into the sky, the entire city was shaken. Several powerful auras rose into the air from the Luochu Chamber of Commerce's encampment and arrived at the courtyard in the blink of an eye. They were all dumbfounded when they saw the barren land and Wu Jinzuan, who was kneeling on the ground with his life or death unknown. Yunxiao did not wait for them to come back to their senses as he said coldly, "Your Luochu Chamber of Commerce dared to stir up trouble with my Tianyuan Chamber of Commerce, so I should have killed all of you, but on account of your endless cultivation, Miss Ding has shown great mercy. As long as you swear your allegiance, no matter how high your cultivation is, you can live." "You're from Tianyuan Trading Company?" An elder of the Luochu Chamber of Commerce opened his eyes wide, his face full of disbelief. "I've already told you my name," Yunxiao snorted coldly. "How can it be fake? How dare the Wu father and son ignore my Tianyuan divine power? One died, and the last one is just a piece of trash." His cold eyes fell on the young man. The teenager's legs trembled in fear as he desperately retreated. He said in horror, Don't kill me. That's my big brother and my father's business, it has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with me."